For more than a decade, they ruled the middleweight divisions. At 160 pounds, Bernard Hopkins built a Hall of Fame legacy with 20 consecutive middleweight title defenses.
Hard right hand by Hopkins. Set it up perfectly with the left. The executioner at work.
Just 8 pounds north, but an ocean apart, Welshman Joe Calzaghe ruled the super middleweight division with his own decade of dominance.
Look at the hand speed. Another non-stop Calzaghe barrage.
But while Hopkins starred in some of the sport's biggest events, boxing's Prince of Wales stayed home, waiting for the right fight to take his perfect record abroad. After Hopkins' middleweight reign came to a close in 2005, he moved up to light heavyweight, scoring an emphatic victory over then divisional kingpin Antonio Tarver.
What a performance by Hopkins.
Meanwhile, against Denmark's Mikkel Kessler, Calzaghe proved everything he could ever prove at super middleweight.
There's nobody else in the world exactly like Joe Calzaghe.
And at the height of his popularity, found the perfect reason finally to cross the Atlantic.
I would never let a white boy beat me. I would never let a white boy beat me.
Tonight, Calzaghe follows Hopkins to light heavyweight, seeking to secure his legacy by defeating a legend.
He's in for the shock of his life, 100%. And I just cannot wait to get in that ring and shut him up.
I must win, and I must win big, and I must punish him to be able to look at everybody in their face and say, I told you so.
It's Bernard Hopkins versus Joe Calzaghe on World Championship Boxing next.
Hopkins is the sort of guy that I really want to beat up. You know, with his big mouth and his bad attitude, and you know, he's sort of something I don't really like.
Joe probably wants revenge. He's angry. He wants me. He's gonna try to keep his cool, calm, and collected. But in back of his mind, he wants Bernard Hopkins to eat his words.
He's gonna try and make me fight his fight. That's his plan. He thinks he's clever than me. We're gonna see come fight night.
What I do know is what I said. I must win, and I must win big, and I must punish him to be able to look at everybody in their face and say, I told you so. And leave the issue in the comment and the answers alone. Winning is everything. It's the only thing. It's survival to the finish.
Calzaghe's ultimate answer to the white boy comment was pretty good. He said, I don't want to lose to a white boy either, or a green boy, or a brown boy, or a red boy, or whatever other color they want to bring to me. And we have celebrities at ringside tonight of all colors and stripes, beginning with Whitney Houston. Nearby, Catherine Zeta-Jones. Not too far away, Simon Cowell. Planet Hollywood Hotel is sponsoring the event. Sylvester Stallone is a primary owner of the hotel. His buddy Arnold Schwarzenegger, governor of California. The newly married Jay-Z. Not far away from him, Jim Belushi. And tennis superstar Pete Sampras. Michael J. Fox and a variety of others also in the crowd tonight. Now let's begin the pageantry that will lead up to this big event with ring announcer Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, and now for the first of two national anthems. Here to sing the national anthem of Wales, a Welshman and a true legend the world over, Sir Tom Jones.
Are we working? It's on? Great. Are you ready? Here we go. My in blood burned harder and only me, Ross Rabbit and Torion and walk yon over. I good all Ravel with glad God with Tramad, Dross Ravid, Coslasant, I was glad, glad, yon even glad, Tramo and Vid, him be prospered, oh blooded, he but
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here to sing the national anthem for the United States, to be performed by an artist with the #1 R&B album, knockout recording star, please welcome Ray J.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Tale of the tape for Bernard Hopkins against Joe Calzaghe. Hopkins at 43 years old, still near the top of the sport. George Foreman achieved that in his second career. Archie Moore achieved that. Practically nobody else in the history of boxing. Calzaghe with a 7-year age advantage, 1-inch height advantage for the Philadelphia fighter Hopkins, an arm length advantage of 1 inch measured from the armpit to the end of the fist for the Welshman. And they both weighed in 2 pounds under the 175-pound limit. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Bernard Hopkins-Joe Calzaghe fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. In case it is caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards if the 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim!
There are plenty of Welshmen in town. Some of them, of course, transplanted Welsh who have been entertainers in the United States, like Tom Jones and Catherine Zeta-Jones. But Calzaghe does not bring the kind of fanatical, song-singing, 24-hour-a-day drinking following that we saw with Ricky Hatton against Floyd Mayweather in December. Max, I think to a large degree it's because he's simply a more private person than Hatton.
Well, it's also a ridiculous standard that Hatton set, bringing 10 to 20,000 people halfway around the world. Calzaghe brought several thousand people halfway around the world, and should he win tonight, the magnitude of his star will obviously increase.
Throughout his career, Emanuel Stewart trained by one man, his father Enzo Calzaghe. You wouldn't have predicted at the beginning that a jazz musician could be a terrific boxing trainer, but it's difficult to find fault with anything they've done.
It's an unusual situation where this probably will be his only fight of maybe in history as the time goes on. But for whatever reason, the chemistry between them as father-son and as a trainer has worked. And sometimes you cannot explain it, and especially when you look at the other corner and see all of those celebrity stars and over there as trainers, but still they've been very effective with that system.
2 tremendous performances in the last few years coming in. He undressed American Jeff Lacey in a situation where Lacey was a heavy betting favorite, and he thoroughly vanquished Mikkel Kessler in a fight in which many ringsiders had picked the unbeaten Dane, who seemed to have sounder technique and more power. Calzaghe stared them both down and never stopped his constant flow of rhythmic punching.
Speaking of those, in both of those fights, I had picked the other 2 opponents to beat Calzaghe in both. So you know I have much respect for him.
I picked Antonio Tarver and Winky Wright to beat Bernard Hopkins and was wrong in both of those instances. And Hopkins is an underdog once again tonight. Although late money on Hopkins has reduced the odds, favoring Calzaghe to less than 2-1. Perhaps an acknowledgement of Hopkins' proven mastery in situations where he's the underdog.
Bernard has been very successful and is very comfortable in situations where he is the underdog, where he's booted. That's where he's performed. As a matter of fact, I can't even remember a fight too much where he was a favorite in a big super fight. But he performs very well under those conditions.
It takes tremendous will, Max Kellerman, for a fighter to resist the urge to entertain the crowd and stick with a style which is essentially highly technical and not crowd-pleasing. Bernard has never wavered.
No, and what Bernard is, and this has been said before, is essentially a negative force in the sense that he negates what his opponent is trying to do, but let's not overlook the fact that he knocked out guys like Felix Trinidad, which meant he had to be landing punches somewhere along the way, especially body punches, and that's something he's going to feature tonight.
You know, as Calzaghe said when we spoke to him, he says basically the biggest signature figures on Bernard's record have been with what he considered junior middleweights, mainly guys like Oscar De La Hoya and Felix Trinidad. Tonight, Bernard is fighting a big guy. Therefore, Calzaghe feels that he has that advantage, even though they both weigh 173. But I am suspicious that Bernard is physically bigger than him, as you pointed out, Jim, when we had the meeting.
He certainly appears in the meeting to be the bigger, stronger guy. Let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, by way of Planet Hollywood Resort Casino of Las Vegas, Nevada, USA, welcome to the Thomas and Mack Center, UNLV. Tonight, Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions, Frank Warren Sports Network, and the Planet Hollywood Resort Casino of Las Vegas are proud to present the main event of the evening. Two future Hall of Famers in the ring to face each other in the moment the world has been waiting for. 12 rounds of boxing. This is a contest recognized by fight fans the world over and Ring Magazine for the linear and true light heavyweight championship of the world. Brought to you in association with HBO Sports and sponsored by Rockstar Energy Drink, party like a rock star, Affliction Clothing, and Southwest Airlines, the Spirit of Freedom. Sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Chairman John Bailey, Executive Director Keith Kaiser. At ringside, the three judges scoring this bout on the 10-point system, Adelaide Bird, Chuck Jampa, and Ted Gimza. And inside the ring, the referee in charge of the action at the bell, Joe Fair but Firm Cortez. And now, for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, may the best man be victorious. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black with white officially, weighing in at 173 pounds. His professional record, a perfect one. 44 bouts, 44 victories, including 32 knockouts. He's the challenger, recognized by Ring Magazine as the universally legitimate, undisputed super middleweight champion of the world, the undefeated fighting pride of Newbridge, Wales, Calzaghe. Fighting out of the red corner, wearing gray with red, official weight 173 pounds also. His professional record, an outstanding one. 48 victories, including 32 knockouts, with 4 defeats and 1 no decision. He's the former undisputed middleweight world champion. Now in this division, the Ring Magazine title list as the true, linear, reigning, defending light heavyweight champion of the world, the fighting pride of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, USA, Bernard, the Executioner Hopkins.
All right, gentlemen, we went to the rules of that dressing room. I expect a good, clean fight. I referee your fight, Bernard, in the past, no problem. Joe, I referee your fights in the past, no problem. I don't expect any problems tonight. With a clean fight, obey my commands at all times. Remember, guys, I'm fair, but I'm firm. Touch him up.
If there's a fighter alive capable of handing Joe Calzaghe his first professional defeat, it's Bernard Hopkins. He certainly knows how to do it after having studied Calzaghe. The question is, at 43, can he physically implement what he knows how to do?
In the corner.
Watch out for headbutts. In 2 of Hopkins' last 4 fights, the opponent wound up with a cut as the result of a butt. And Hopkins acknowledges that he spent a good deal of time studying tape of Calzaghe's fight with Sakio Bika a year and a half ago, in which a headbutt cut clearly bothered Calzaghe. He called it the worst cut of his career.
And to point out just what you said, Hopkins made his first aggressive move. He ran in with his head down again, as you see right there. He looked like he's focusing as much on keeping his head down, whether it's for protection or to cause a butt as it is punching.
Bring out.
Calzaghe makes his first spirited forward rush of the fight, and they wind up tied together on the ropes. Cortez breaks them up.
And Calzaghe got the better of that head exchange as he seemed to bother Hopkins with his own head on the inside.
Well, Calzaghe, when asked what he would do about Hopkins' supposedly demonstrated penchant, right goes Calzaghe down on a perfect right hand shot by Hopkins. And Joe Calzaghe's been down before, but never in a big fight.
No, Hopkins moved in like he was going to move into a clinch and shot a short, direct, point-to-point right hand.
What an embarrassment to Calzaghe, and already an extra point on the scorecard for Hopkins.
In Calzaghe's first big fight against Chris Eubank, he was also dropped early in the fight, got up and dominated Eubank in an excellent fight the rest of the way.
It was a long time ago.
And Chris Eubank ain't Bernard Hopkins.
Hopkins isn't exactly a knockout puncher, but he landed that right hand straight on the chin.
You have 2 fighters who are probably the 2 best adjustable fighters in boxing today. Calzaghe proved that in his last fight with Kessler, where he came back and turned the fight around, and Bernard does the same thing. So you're going to see a lot of adjustments in this fight as it goes on.
And already in round 1, Calzaghe is showing tremendous respect for Hopkins' counter-punching skills. The Joe Calzaghe, who throws 70 to 80 punches per round, is nowhere evident so far, as his punch output is clearly being limited by his respect for Hopkins. Momentary door-to-door skirmishes, spaced apart by periods of inactivity. That's a Bernard Hopkins fight, and that's what we're looking for so far in round 1. Or looking at so far in round 1. One punch at a time for Calzaghe, not his game. And there's a trickle of blood on the nose of Calzaghe, right on the bridge of the nose. Perhaps the product of the right hand that dumped him on his shorts. What a great start for Hopkins in round 1 against Joe Calzaghe.
But outside of the knockdown, the round would have been even. Maybe Calzaghe would have won it.
So, the best of fighting fights. And the left hands are not working. You wouldn't know. Really? Yeah. You know, so the left hand roll. So that's too much of leg. His leg, that's all you feel. Good. No problem. You didn't let him ignite. You let him ignite the right hand. You stand in front of him. Get it? Nice round. Keep using those things. head movement, and don't forget the body for me, okay?
Coming in, man.
All right? Hey, very nice. Watch.
Here you see Bernard moving in as if he's going to go into a clinch and shoot a perfect pinpoint short right hand. Couldn't have been any better than that. And the fact that Calzaghe wasn't even expecting that, because from that shorter distance, it would have made it had much more effect than if it had been a long-range punch.
And any chance Calzaghe had of standing up was eliminated when Hopkins continued to proceed forward and with their shoulders engaged, managed to go ahead and finish the knockdown by putting Calzaghe onto his trunks. Total punches in round one by CompuBox count. Hopkins only threw 16, landed 4. Calzaghe 7 out of 35. Again, those kinds of numbers reflect a Bernard Hopkins round.
Bernard wants to slow the fight down, fight in spots, and keep Calzaghe from getting in his rhythm, because Calzaghe is a rhythm fighter. If he goes on and gets into his rhythm later on, he still could turn this fight around. But right now, the fight is going just the way Bernard wants it to be.
You know, people talk a lot about Bernard Hopkins' work rate or lack thereof. But in preparation for the fight, no one has a better work rate. He trains as hard as anybody. And that's why he's able at the age of 43 to even go 12 good rounds with these great younger fighters.
And also, Bernard probably, I don't think anybody I've ever known in boxing is more intelligent in studying films and analyzing every movement of the body and hands.
Meticulous preparation.
Unbelievable, not just physically, but also in preparation of studying and analyzing opponents.
Every time Calzaghe nears Hopkins, Bernard is reaching out and clutching him with the left arm. And he's managing to do it most of the time on the opposite side of Joe Cortez. Ricky Hatton complained long and loud about how Cortez refereed the Hatton-Mayweather fight in December. There were some British writers who felt as though Cortez didn't give Hatton a chance to do his thing.
Break out. What's punching behind the head? What's punching behind the head?
Well, Mayweather had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, and I think so far it's Hopkins who's keeping Calzaghe from doing his thing. And Bernard landed another straight right counter punch. That's his best shot, and he's landed it again in this round. Calzaghe beginning to get a chance to let his hands go. It's still showing a lot of respect to Hopkins on the inside. You see the blood again trickling from the little cut on the bridge of Joe Calzaghe's nose.
Calzaghe seems to be getting his rhythm going a little bit here. He's a rhythm fighter. He's starting to punch, bob, and weave. He's making adjustments to Hopkins and making Bernard fight at a little faster pace than he wants to fight at.
Hey, look, here, look, it's up. All right, here we go. Okay. All right.
Low blow by Calzaghe. Once again, Hopkins reaches that left arm out. Momentarily holds Calzaghe, then drops it as Cortez comes in.
All right, break. Let him out.
It's going to be a test of Joe Calzaghe's will to see if he can find a way to let his punches flow, as has been the case in his resounding victories in recent years. So far, it's hot and tech.
I believe he will. As the fight goes on, I see him getting into his rhythm now. Bernard is throwing one punch and lunging in with his head down at the same time, never trying to put together a series of combinations.
You're chanting him with hooks.
Immediately following this broadcast, countdown to De La Hoya Forbes, part of our Emmy-nominated countdown series. Then the live fight, Oscar De La Hoya against Steve Forbes, Saturday, May 3.
Sorry. Don't clinch. All right, don't worry about it. Counter right away.
Punch it behind the head right now, okay, on the clinch, all right?
Water. Okay. Okay.
CompuBox numbers so far figure Calzaghe for having thrown 33 jabs and landed none. Obviously, if he's going to get that two-fisted rhythm going, he's going to have to start landing his jab at some point.
Yeah, both guys are very difficult to land clean punches on. Both of them are very good defensive fighters.
And now Calzaghe goes with the lead left hand down the middle and lands it. That may be a tactic that he would use to greater effect as time goes on.
Guys, I got to tell you, I think the majority of the effective punches have been landed by Hopkins, including in the last round. Bernard said going into this fight, he's not going to be able to beat me on flair. And I don't see Calzaghe beating Hopkins on flair so far.
All right, stop.
Hopkins getting in 3 right-hand body shots before Cortez pulled him apart. Bernard Hopkins is extremely adept at getting in subtle punishment when the two fighters are engaged in what might be called clinches, and it doesn't look like much is going on. Something is going on, like that.
Bernard's a very cagey guy, and one of his heroes is the famous middleweight from Philadelphia, Benny Briscoe, and he's, who kept his head down, which avoided from getting hit, made opponents hurt their hands, but also he's landing very short, accurate punches. Calzaghe is busy, but his punches are more of a slap. Bernard's are more crisp, more accurate, more body weight.
Calzaghe's game is to fight at a moderate distance. So far, Hopkins is making him fight either from great distance or in a phone booth, up close. Both of those situations are better for Hopkins.
Bernard is fighting the fight that he wants to fight. Calzaghe cannot fight the fight he wants to fight at this stage.
And that's saying something, because Calzaghe's always been able to impose his style on his opponent.
But still, as the fight goes on, I think he's going to step it up whether he wins or loses, because he's just that type of a guy. He makes great adjustment, and once he senses he may be losing the fight, he does become more intense.
Well, the first adjustment that appears necessary here is how to find a distance at which he can mount his offense without getting sucked into Bernard's vortex. And it seems to me that minute by minute, he's beginning to feel his way toward that. You see his hands flowing more rhythmically here in round 3. Calzaghe getting in hard left hands in the clinch, much as Hopkins has been able to do with right hands in the past. The crowd boos as Cortez warns Calzaghe. Body shots by Calzaghe. Hopkins drives him away with a counter right. Both fighters landed in that sequence.
He's doing the pace you can't maintain after. Okay, can you keep it going, Joe? Yeah. How do you feel? It feels good, Joe. And load the left hand, start getting left, right, left. All right, double combination.
Trying to keep a tight guard though.
Keep it today, yeah, but you've been too worried about the tight guard. That's what's catching you. He's catching you because you relax it, you throw the left. You have to be careful. Yeah. You have to be careful, Joe.
Yeah, cool.
You got to start stepping these rounds up. You start stepping up, be too cautious. He's catching on the cautious, right?
You hear me? All right, you just can't get away with one punch, okay? He's a sucker for the right hand, come back to the left hook. Feint him, right hand, left hook, he's gonna work all night long, I promise you. All right? Let's go. Deep breath.
Check us out.
Freddie Roach is the head trainer in Hopkins' corner. He actually has 4 people on his staff, which might be called a kind of joint chiefs of staff arrangement. Trainer Mackie Shillstone, John David Jackson to talk about southpaw defense, Nassim Richardson, who's been an assistant trainer throughout his career, and Freddie Roach. Harold, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim, 2 rounds to 1, 29-27. Bernard Hopkins. You got to give him an extra point to round 1, just like you said for the knockdown. But Jim, I got to tell you, Bernard's got Joe Calzaghe fighting his fight. In other words, Hopkins' fight. Calzaghe rushes in, and Bernard hits him with a right hand. I thought Joe was busy enough to win round 2, but certainly in round 3, the Hopkins right hand was more effective. 2 rounds to 1, Hopkins.
Round 3 CompuBox numbers began to look the way Calzaghe would want them to look. But just because you have the numbers doesn't mean you won the round.
Come on, let's go, big up. Step back. Come on, keep up. Break.
bewildered at Hopkins' tactics.
Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. I tell you, I don't want any rough tactics. I don't want to take any points. I disqualify either one of you, understand? It's a clean fight. Let's go. Time in.
You heard Freddie Roach tell Hopkins, right hand, or feint right hand, left hook. It'll work all night.
Bernard's most effective punch is, and usually has always been, back and back, and then throwing a right hand at the knee, just like that, with his head bent down at the same time. That's his most effective. He doesn't put a flow of combinations together, but he's very effective with that right hand.
All right, bring on.
Partially effective because you have to worry about the head and the right hand at the same time.
Absolutely.
Calzaghe dropping his hands. Trying to rush Hopkins the way he was so successfully able to do against Jeff Lacey of the United States a couple of years ago. Hopkins fighting off the ropes with his counter-punching accuracy.
Yeah, and it seems to me continuing to land the cleaner, more effective punches, although in this round not landing as many of them.
Stop. Let's go.
And I think my point about Hopkins being the bigger man is proven out as they stand and face each other in the ring. The one in tight advantage we knew about. But he's stronger in the upper body than Calzaghe.
Yeah, you know, when they had the weigh-in, which they request you to do, you don't have to do it, it's mandatory. When you come to the arena, I think they said Calzaghe weighed 181 tonight. Bernard refused to weigh in tonight for the second weigh-in.
Which is why we showed you no unofficial weights.
Watch your foot, watch your foot.
Southpaw against a conventional fighter. Their lead feet will often get tangled up. And you heard Joe Cortez saying, watch your foot. Hopkins, for some reason, stands in a neutral corner to watch the round card girl come in, and then finally turns away to walk to his own corner.
Okay. Keith. They start using the things. He's dropping his head when he pulls out. Right up.
Right? Move the other way. Move the other way, but you're reluctant to do any combinations. He doesn't mind them. What's that meant to speak on? In between.
Yeah, okay.
Here you see Bernard land a right hand, and as he usually does, he follows up, not with a left hook like he would. We use it with physical tactics, such as hitting it with his head or his shoulders. But he's been successful with it most of his career, and if he can get away with it, more power to him.
Then he hits Calzaghe from behind in the ear, and that's when Cortez pulled them together and had a discussion with them, saying he didn't want any roughhousing tactics. CompuBox numbers in the fourth round. Hopkins, 7 of 29. Calzaghe, 14 out of 51. So the numbers are beginning to favor Calzaghe in every round. But as Max Kellerman points out, the numbers don't necessarily reflect who lands the cleaner, more identifiable shots.
Well, at this stage now, Calzaghe seems to have gotten more comfortable with the rhythm and flow of the fight and is setting the tempo, and Bernard is losing his balance. He can't time Calzaghe as good as he would earlier, and he's the one that's getting off balance himself a little bit right here.
When Calzaghe drops his hands in front of his opponent and does that showboaty kind of stuff, it's generally an indication that he's feeling comfortable and ready to start really doing his thing. I'm surprised when he does that, Hopkins doesn't punch.
Don't hold the head down, man. Let's go. Let's go.
That time, Calzaghe very concertedly covering up inside to make sure Hopkins didn't land anything. More and more, Calzaghe is concentrating on trying to develop combat from the outside and avoiding it inside.
But you know, Jim, as you said, the more identifiable punches, whenever I see sweat flying, it's generally flying off of Calzaghe's face due to a clean shot from Hopkins.
Although Calzaghe landed a good striking left hand in that last exchange.
Indeed.
Let's go, let's fight.
Calzaghe seems much more relaxed now than in the first couple of rounds.
Well, he's pretty figured out now that Bernard's biggest weapon is just simply that one short right hand lead that he throws when he pushes his head in. And beyond that, Bernard is not having a good flow of anything else.
Stop. Stop.
It's fascinating. Hopkins was quite vocal in saying, I have to win the fight in the middle of the ring. For the last 2 rounds, he has circled the ring with his back to the ropes constantly. Maybe he didn't mean that he had to win the fight in the middle of the ring. Or maybe he likes the way he's fighting off the ropes.
Well, he's been fighting very good. And the right hand that he knocked Calzaghe down was similar to the right hand he really knocked out really for the most part, Robert Allen.
Stop right there.
Now we see some deception in Hopkins' defense. He talked about before the fight the old Jersey Joe Walcott turning, making it look as though he's walking away, and then coming back with a quick right hand left hook. He's starting to take that Walcott posture, if not throw the punches.
Good right hand to the body by Hopkins there. Earlier, Calzaghe landed a good straight left hand to the body and the left upstairs. Calzaghe getting in more punches and a good left hand that clocks Hopkins before the bell. Hopkins felt the need to fight back after the bell.
I just found your method of fighting. What? I just found a method of fighting now.
Later tonight, West Coast viewers can catch the latest installment of Real Sports, featuring an interview with presidential candidate Barack Obama on his love of basketball.
I can't imagine more fun than having a good pickup basketball game.
With Hillary Clinton, perhaps. East Coast viewers can see a replay of the show tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And April 29, it's a special live edition of Costas Now. Bob Costas leads a town hall-style discussion into the relationship between sports and media.
You need more than 1 and 2 shots. Let's hold the combinations. When you go combinations, you can't handle your team. Okay? Combinations.
CompuBox numbers on power shots in round 5. Hopkins 10 out of 31, Calzaghe 11 out of 32. In other words, virtually even.
And Calzaghe gave his fans something to sing about that round, apparently, Jim.
Or maybe they just wanted to sing. It's become a repeating pattern of Calzaghe stalking Hopkins as Hopkins circles the ring with his back near the ropes and looks for counter-punching opportunities.
This could be a difficult fight to score because Calzaghe looks very comfortable. He's coming in, but he doesn't have any power. His punches are just a little flurries inside. Bernard lands the cleaner punches, but Bernard only would throw 1 punch and then smother you right away after that. So it can be a very rough fight to score.
Calzaghe is starting to make his left hand produce music upstairs. Landing more solidly, landing more consistently than in the first 2 rounds. Remember, in case you joined us late, there was a knockdown in round 1. Bernard Hopkins catching Joe Calzaghe in the middle of the face with a perfect right-hand counter shot and dumping him onto his butt.
Break out, please.
Calzaghe is putting more pressure on Bernard than any fighter that I can recall in years. He's coming to him all the time, and Bernard is having problems trying to time him now. And I'm surprised that Calzaghe hasn't stepped back and shot a left uppercut when Bernard goes forward, because Bernard runs in with his head down every time.
Hard right-hand body shot by Hopkins amid a flurry by Calzaghe.
There certainly has been a momentum shift over the last couple rounds, where Calzaghe seems to be more effective and Bernard throwing even fewer punches than he did earlier. Although there caught Calzaghe.
Good left-hand counter by Bernard there. Now Calzaghe is beginning to regain confidence in his jab. Couldn't land it early in the fight. Switched to throwing the straight left hand lead. Now follows up with the straight left hand and catches Hopkins against the ropes. Hopkins coming forward with his head while throwing a right hand body shot.
1 punch. He throws 1 punch and lunges forward with his head usually consistently.
Stop.
And I'm surprised Calzaghe is really not fighting a smart fight legal. Even though he's competitive, he could easily, by moving and boxing in and out a little bit, he could fight a much smarter fight.
Now Calzaghe starts to get the kind of spirited combat he wants. Cortez throws Calzaghe to the floor, pulling him off.
Okay.
Okay, Bernard. I want a clean round. I don't want any rough tactics. I don't want to start taking any points. Give me a clean fight.
So this guy's still going behind the head, too.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we're fucking good. You want to get this guy stop you or you want to stop him?
I want it for the same thing, no rough tactics. I want it for the same thing. I won't start taking any points from either one of you.
I'm telling you now, do you want him to stop you? Or you want to stop him? That's the fucking way it's going to go. That's the way it's going to go. Are you with me now? Make your fucking up to the partner here, right? Right through the A's, and attack the fourth.
That's the most combative I've ever seen Enzo Calzaghe in dealing with his son. CompuBox averages through the 6th round. Hopkins averages 8 lands in 31 punches. Calzaghe averages 15 lands in 53 punches. Harold, how do you have it through 6?
Okay, Jim, the last 3 rounds, I thought showed Calzaghe's aggressiveness and clean punching. He just won them all. Anyway, 4 rounds to 2. 57, 56, Joe Calzaghe. Now, there's only a 1-point difference because Hopkins has that extra point for the knockdown. But you know, Jim, in the last 3 rounds, Joe's coming in. He's really getting into his rhythm. He's using the right jab more, landed a lot of straight left hands. He's just landing more clean, effective shots. Hopkins lands an occasional right hand, but not much more. 4-2, Calzaghe.
Emmanuel, do you agree that Calzaghe is getting closer to fighting his fight?
Yeah, so he still could do a little bit more by making Bernard fall off balance because Bernard fights with his head to the floor a little bit. But I think Calzaghe, as I said, is getting into his rhythm now, much like he did with Mikhail Kasayev. But you know, Bernard still is capable of scoring another knockdown somewhere the way he fights, and could even still make the decision even closer and more in his favor. He still can land a
you've
knockout.
mentioned how hard this fight is to score. I think the 2nd and the 5th rounds could have gone either way. And those, you know, you have a lot of swing rounds, and it's difficult to come to a conclusion as to who won the fight.
You're right. I agree with you. It's been a very difficult fight, especially the knockdown. And I think Bernard still is capable of scoring another knockdown.
Well, I think it's also possible that the 3rd round, which Harold Letterman gave to Hopkins, could conceivably have gone to Calzaghe, who was by far the busier fighter.
So 3 swing rounds at least.
Exactly. But we expected that the rounds would be difficult to score. That was the case in both of Hopkins' fights with Jermaine Taylor.
No, and for those who would be critical of Hopkins' style here, I know Calzaghe's not a spring chicken, but this is a 43-year-old fighter that's ancient in boxing.
And you know, it's amazing too. I've never saw Bernard Hopkins ever decisively beaten. And I saw all of his fights virtually, including the fight to Roy Jones. He lost the decision, but he was never really beaten, and he didn't have much experience. And we saw the fights with Jermaine Taylor.
He's boxing's Greg Maddux. He's just an incredible athlete.
Amazing man.
Well, he spent 17 years fighting in the 160-pound weight class. And Emmanuel Stewart, you began to observe toward the end of his middleweight reign that maybe he would be better suited to move up in weight. He looked so spectacular in his first light heavyweight fight against Antonio Tarver that you're tempted to wonder, well, what might he have been if he had been a light heavyweight for 4 or 5 years prior to that?
He has been a light heavyweight. He was just always, without even in training, eating nothing but vegetables and, you know, running every day. It's 5 or 6 in the morning. He was always, and still he was very weak making 160. He's been a light heavyweight a long time.
Calzaghe scores a rally along the ropes. Hopkins felt a need to retaliate. The best way to make Bernard Hopkins fight offensively is to go hit it, as Calzaghe is doing.
That's what I was saying right there. Calzaghe almost was knocked down again, simply because of the way Bernard is letting him run in off balance.
How do you score that round?
I think Calzaghe should have won the round, but he almost lost a 2-point round.
Yeah. Okay, right the ace, okay? Yeah. He's feeling it now, Joy's feeling it now, right? But you've got to start the A's. The 3-4 A's, 3 to 4 A's. You're throwing a big left hand and not landing it in. Right?
This guy's ready to be taken. You can start walking him down. You're the stronger man, okay? Cold towel.
Here you see Calzaghe come in throwing his typical punches, really no power, more of an amateur type slapping punches, but they get points, and also leaving himself open for Bernard's punches. Bernard caught it with a short right hand right there.
I know Calzaghe
with his head
dominated.
down.
I know Calzaghe dominated that round, but that right hand almost put Calzaghe down.
Harold Letterman gave the round to Hopkins. So, you know, that underlines your point, Max. Power shots in round 7. Calzaghe landing 20 of 45, 10 in the last minute of the round. But Hopkins landed 12 of 32, and perhaps because of that hard right hand toward the end, Letterman gives the round to Hopkins, which evens the fight on his scorecard.
The real question you ask when scoring a round, or at least I ask myself, is who would I rather have been that round? I'd rather be the guy who's doing the damage.
I thought that Calzaghe won the round. I think the fact that he didn't go down and it was just one clean blow, I would still say he hustled that round. I believe.
This is the challenge the judges are facing tonight.
And I suspect the judges agree with you, Emmanuel.
Bernard is very cagey still at all times, always looking for that one low punch.
Yeah, I almost had to laugh listening to Freddie Roach say to Bernard Hopkins, if you start walking this man down, you can knock him out. When's the last time we saw Bernard Hopkins try to walk somebody down? Segundo Mojado?
It's back when he's back to Antoine Elkins. I thought was his last really aggressive fight. Even when he beat Trinidad and Oscar, he patiently waited his time. He lost the early part of the fight then. He's always been patient since then.
Bring out.
Another 4-punch rally by Calzaghe, punctuated by a right-hand counterpunch from Hopkins. That shows you how quick Bernard can still be.
And I like what the referee did. He didn't do anything. Let them both do one dirty punch apiece and leave them alone. But Calzaghe just slapping with his punches.
Trying to chop Hopkins down with a chopping left hand. There's a solid left from Calzaghe. Hopkins lands his right. Hopkins is an elusive target as you follow him into the corner.
Yeah, very, very, very cagey guy. Looked like to be in great shape too for his age.
Body movement, head movement, little steps left and right. He knows every trick to make himself difficult to hit. Sometimes Calzaghe wants to pull the trigger on a punch and just can't find Bernard.
But I tell you what, he's setting a tempo that Bernard is not that comfortable with.
Calzaghe constantly trying to apply pressures, trying to speed the tempo of the fight, trying to make the 43-year-old man fight, and now showboating around the ring.
You won it. If you play this way, cool, all right? You're boxing for your pace. You can't stick your pace. The guy's knackered. He's knackered. Yeah. He's throwing a left hand. You're throwing left on its own. On its own. You've got part of the combination. Where's the fucking 4 C's gone? Yeah.
Yeah. On my head.
Bernard, when you're throwing the combinations, this guy can't handle you. All right? Now here, these rounds getting a little bit close. Okay, I want more combinations. You hear me? All right?
Here you see Calzaghe throwing punches. Right now is a case of just his time and his rhythm has came into play now, and it's being a big factor as the fight moves on now.
He shortened up his punches to try to make sure of landing against the elusive Hopkins. He's taking power off, but opting for accuracy, and it's beginning to pay off.
They said he's very, very adaptable at changing, adjusting to do whatever he has to do to win a fight.
CompuBox numbers in 8, Hopkins 15 out of 38, Calzaghe 22 out of 65, including 7 out of 28 jabs. That's the best Calzaghe has done with his jab in the entire fight. We're into the 9th round of a scheduled 12. And the urgency of the issue is portrayed in the way Enzo Calzaghe is trying to whip his horse into the stretch here.
But he still ought to be good straight left.
Good straight left hand by Calzaghe. Right on the button. More and more he's been able to target that punch. Jab lands for Calzaghe, and this time he blocks the right hand counter. That's been pretty rare. Hopkins gets in the right-hand counter, but another little flurry by Calzaghe of these short punches, which are designed to be accurate and land.
He's made his adjustment. His punches are shortened up as he comes in the distance. He adjusts his situation. I was surprised when he fought Jeff Lacey that he actually beat Lacey on the inside with uppercuts when he wanted to.
Calzaghe reminds me at this point of the hitter who shortens his swing against a knuckleball pitcher. He's trying to take the simplest, shortest cut possible to find the ball.
What he did there is what he should have been doing more in the fight. When Bernard starts coming forward, just merely pull back, because Bernard would lose his balance because he punches with his head down as he comes forward.
The difference in their approaches, as we mentioned earlier, Calzaghe is jazz, like his father, the jazz musician. It's improvisational. He figures it out as he goes along. Hopkins meticulously prepares his game plan.
And has an almost mathematical approach to trying to win.
And maybe that improvisational ability is what we're seeing here.
Hard right hand for Hopkins, but Joe was rolling with the punch.
And he's coming right back and not letting Bernard really take the play. He's still setting the tempo. And Bernard is having a time, trying to time and figure his rhythm out. And now he's just lunging forward now.
American judges tend to favor aggression fighters, fighters who come forward.
And especially in Las Vegas.
Definitively here, that's Calzaghe.
And now for the first time this round, Calzaghe is landing the punches that are making the sweat fly.
Hold the head, Calzaghe.
Another straight left hand for Hopkins. Excuse me, for Calzaghe. As he stepped in. Hopkins' hands don't seem to have the same zip that they had in the first 6 rounds.
He's never been pressured like this. Nobody's ever pressured him in a fight. Trinidad, Oscar, always everybody respected him. This guy's pressuring him and mentally intimidating him too.
So grab your combination, grab your combination, and the jab's got to land. Land the jab, he's got fuck all in there now, right? He's doing the same old pattern now. Rat-a-ta-ta, rat-a-ta-ta, follow the balls. Square he goes rat-a-ta, bring spin him up and bring the uppercuts in. You listen to me, Joe, you listen to me, Dev. You won the next 4 rounds in big style. Big style. I think this guy's ready to be knocked out. Trust me, trust me, trust me.
Yeah, listen, well, let's tell him how to do it. Listen, now when you move your feet up to him and you're making him use his legs, you've got to punch with him, okay?
He's going away.
All right, now come on.
You understand?
Yeah,
he's letting you stopping you punching.
Clean round. Come on, Joe.
Here you see Joe landing a punch that he's been landing very effectively as the fight goes on. Straight right hand, a left hand, and sometimes he changes up and loops it on the outside, which is causing problems for Bernard trying to figure out where the left hand is coming from.
Well, Max Kellerman talked about Calzaghe's improvisational quality. More and more as the fight has gone on, he has found answers for the riddle of Bernard Hopkins. CompuBox numbers in 9, Calzaghe 25 out of 61. His high number for landed punches in the fight, Hopkins 13 out of 41. Harold, how do you have it coming to the 10th?
86, 84, 6 rounds to 3. Joe Calzaghe. Jim, the last 2 rounds were incredibly easy rounds to score. I mean, you've been saying it's a tough round to score. Calzaghe, the aggressive guy, and Bernard throwing fewer and fewer punches.
And down goes Hopkins on a low blow. No point deduction so far.
You're out for 5 minutes.
Cortez is going to give him up to 5 minutes. It's the second time in the fight that Calzaghe has been ruled to have hit Hopkins with a low blow.
Accidental low blow. That was accidental.
Well, I think we can rest assured any more low blows and Calzaghe will be penalized. He pulls Calzaghe's head down.
Yep. That was not an intentional low blow by no means, and it really wasn't that bad anyway. The part on the cup where it hit was not that damaging, to me, at least my opinion.
I mean, if that caused that reaction from Hopkins, then maybe we're underrating Calzaghe's punching power the entire fight. That did not seem like a big punch that would cause this kind of a reaction.
I wonder if Hopkins is choosing to stop Calzaghe's flowing momentum here by taking as long as possible to recover.
That's not going to happen. Calzaghe's got his rhythm. He's wired up right now.
And now Calzaghe's playing to the crowd, walking back and forth in the ring with his hands out as if to say, come on.
And Hopkins, unlike almost every fighter that you see in this situation, is taking every second he can.
And grimacing as though he's still in pain. And limping as though he's having difficulty walking.
Refusing to be pressured into taking less than 5 minutes.
Is it an Oscar-winning performance, or did Calzaghe land a bomb? You don't often get nominated for an Academy Award for a movie that takes place in April.
That said, we did not take the punch.
That's true.
Maybe it was debilitating.
Big on, let him out. Now clean run, guys.
Straight right hand by Hopkins.
Stop.
Jumping forward as he threw it. Calzaghe with his hands down around his waist. Hopkins elected to tackle him high.
You've got to watch Hopkins' right hand set at all time. He's very dangerous with that right hand lead.
Come on. I want you wrestling inside, man. You know what tactics.
Suddenly the fight looks like it did in round one.
They're both going shoulder to shoulder, head to head. If Calzaghe was smart, he would just really take a step back and make Hopkins lose his balance and then punch. As long as he's meeting punch to punch, anyone could get butted or either one could get hit.
Well, it's not in Joe Calzaghe to simply make Bernard Hopkins come to him. He's a go-forward fighter, always has been.
Bring on, come on, let go. I will not take any points for excessive holding any one of you.
Joe Cortez there explicitly stating, I'm not trying to take any points.
Stop right there.
And Hopkins gets in two low blows on Calzaghe on the opposite side away from Cortez. They weren't big shots.
No,
but they were reminders that he'll do whatever he has to do.
Calzaghe is taking big leaps forward, but he can easily time him. He's getting a little careless as he's running in now.
Looks like Hopkins needed a breather. He took it, and he seems like he's better for it.
Absolutely. Seems a bit rejuvenated.
All right, stop. Stop.
This round may be on the table as we come to the last 10 seconds. And both guys let their hands go, but neither lands anything of major consequence.
Hey, boy. Tap. All right, B. That was you. Lorenz.
Not worry about your left hand. You're concerned defence only. You're boxing this style. Defence only first. You can do that many times. You can throw 5 or 6 and you're gone. Why are you 5 or 6 in? Why are they?
Okay.
They've been saying okay for the last 6 rounds.
Joe, you got to win these 2 rounds big.
You're not doing it. You're not doing it. Your left hand is a slap.
Yeah, you see the low blow, and it was actually he was starting to punch in the proper area, but the fact he got his head pulled down is what caused the blow to actually go low. But it still didn't seem to be that damaging, and then that bad of area was it didn't come underneath the cup.
The largest number of punches ever landed against Bernard Hopkins in a prize fight. Roy Jones landed 206 blows by CompuBox count back in 1993. Coming to this round, Joe Calzaghe has landed 189 punches already on Bernard Hopkins. In all likelihood, it's going to finish the fight having landed more punches than anyone's ever landed against Hopkins in a CompuBox counted fight.
Heading into this fight, conventional wisdom was that Calzaghe, younger, faster, higher volume of punches, would outwork Bernard and win a close decision. And that's what it looks like it's on its way to being this fight. The question now is, can the great old fighter pull something out of his bag of tricks and pull off the upset?
Calzaghe may help him back. He's coming in so careless there, leaving himself wide open. And Bernard still is a KGO guy. He still can punch. And he has good eyes, so he can see opportunities.
2 of the 3 judges who are scoring the fight are very recognizable faces, well known here in Las Vegas. The third is a judge from Illinois, whose record is not all that intelligible to us. Don't know that much about him. We'll show you the judges later on as the fight progresses toward the decision.
In spite of all the work that Hopkins has done with Mackie Shilstone, the great conditioning coach, it seemed to me at the end of the last round, when they were both flurrying, Hopkins' old, tired arms were just unable to keep up with Calzaghe's.
Well, you made the point that you thought maybe Hopkins took a long rest after the low blow to recover a bit from the exertion of the fight. Mackie Shilstone has a tremendous record in having conditioned fighters for special challenges, including helping Bernard Hopkins become a light heavyweight to fight Antonio Tarver.
He's did a fantastic job with all of the fighters he worked with. And to me, one of his masterpieces, though, aside from the Michael Spinks preparing him to win the title from Larry Holmes, was Roy Jones, moving way up to heavyweight, where he looked very good and natural.
That time, Calzaghe backed Hopkins off in an exchange of flurries.
You know, and subtly, Calzaghe has been able to force Hopkins to fight more of his fight, flurrying with Calzaghe with his back against the ropes.
Stop! Come on, let's go.
Chopping left hand by Calzaghe, and now Hopkins is claiming another low blow, but Cortez didn't see it.
Let's go, Bernard. Come on, let's go. No, you need to go. Let's go, come on.
Hopkins claiming he was hit in the cup. Cortez didn't see it. Consequently, there'll be no penalty. Cortez says go right ahead and fight.
But might there be retaliation?
Hopkins trying to retaliate with his big right hand.
Come on, let me have your hand. Let's go.
If they want to trade, Calzaghe will land more. It's as simple as that.
Calzaghe's rhythm and timing is just too much for Bernard.
No fucking leg left it for.
Did he cheat him, man?
Fucking cheat my ass! Don't worry about the cheating. What he's doing is what the fuck are you doing?
What do you think?
You should have done a long time ago. That's all you want to do. Why leave it to round 11? I remember water walk. Remember water's empty.
The what?
Fucking, I guess a fucking water. Fucking, don't get it. It's out.
What do you think?
It's over. You don't win this round. It's fucking over. You got to stop him.
Take another drink.
You got to stop him.
Have you got it?
Last round.
Now here. Go out there and own the guy.
Finish strong, win the fight.
All right, go out there.
You winning the fight.
Now let's finish strong. Let's finish strong.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is
Round 12 begins. Freddie Roach urging Hopkins to finish strong. Enzo Calzaghe with a flurry of F-bombs for his son.
You know, but in the corners, Hopkins' corner feels he's ahead, and Calzaghe's corner seems to feel Calzaghe's behind, saying that he needs a knockout.
I heard Leon Tabbs tell Bernard clearly that he's winning the fight. Which was surprising to me.
You never know whether he means it. You know, I mean, with an older fighter like Bernard, wouldn't you say that anyway, simply to keep him motivated and keep him going? And I think in the case of Enzo Calzaghe, he's trying to urgently whip his fighter into continuing to throw, continuing to let his energy flow.
I would tell Bernard, every punch you throw with full power. You know, because you're not going to want to win it. Whether he wins it, I would tell him that he should go with full power in any punch that he throws.
It certainly would seem that if somebody needs a knockout, it's Hopkins.
Well, again, those early swing rounds, depending on whose favor they go in, might determine the fight.
Good left hand by Calzaghe. Hopkins comes back with his arms windmilling.
And speaking of swing rounds, here we are in the final one, and they're both fighting hard.
As I was saying, Nevada judges consistently like guys who force the fight, push action. That's how you had the controversy with Trinidad when he fought with Oscar, and always throughout history. So, according to the way they score, I would have Calzaghe winning according to Nevada's scoring system.
It was a given when you compare their styles that Calzaghe would be the aggressor. The only question was whether Hopkins' counter-aggression would befuddle him and ultimately upend him. It certainly looked in the first few rounds as though it was more than possible. But then Calzaghe got his rhythm going in the middle rounds.
That knockdown in round one scored by Hopkins also seems to loom large at the moment.
Indeed. As does the fact that no point was ever deducted for the 2 times that the fight was stopped because of low blows by Calzaghe. And incidentally, it's Hopkins who came in with the low blow reputation.
Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go.
The predator in this fight is definitely Calzaghe. He set the tempo all the way.
Joe Calzaghe with a professional record of 44 wins, no losses. 18 years since the last time he lost a fight as an amateur. Bernard Hopkins trying for his 3rd straight win in the light heavyweight division after an epic career as a middleweight. Calzaghe chasing Hopkins down the stretch. Hopkins holding on as the seconds tick away. And they fight past the bell. Let's take a look at the 3 judges who have the responsibility of choosing a winner. Adelaide Bird. This was her 40th title fight. She was one of the 3 judges who scored the landslide for Calzaghe over Lacey. Chuck Jampa, by far the most veteran of the 3 judges here, had what most ringsiders would regard as the right score in Mayweather De La Hoya. Mayweather winning 116-112, winning 8 of the 12 rounds. And Ted Gimza of Illinois. 9 previous title fights. It wasn't difficult to find Juan Diaz leading Julio Diaz 79-73, and we don't know much beyond that about him. Harold Letterman, what's your final scorecard,
You know, Jim, I'll tell you something. In my eyes, it wasn't a tough fight to score. I mean, I saw the monstrous Bernard Hopkins right hand in the first round, but after that, I mean, Joe Calzaghe was all over him. 9 rounds to 3, 116, 111, Joe Calzaghe. He was the aggressor. He landed more punches. I thought he landed the cleaner punches. Bernard never landed any clean left hands the whole fight.
And he won the last 5 rounds on your card.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was not that about it. He was chasing him down the whole fight.
All right. So we'll get the decision here in a moment as both Hopkins and Calzaghe played to the crowd. Ultimately, I think it was a pro-Calzaghe house. Perhaps a few more Welshmen than Americans here. And perhaps quite a number of Americans who rooted for Calzaghe because of his more crowd-pleasing style. That's Mackie Shilstone there talking to Hopkins, the physical conditioner who has done so much for fighters like Hopkins, Roy Jones, Michael Spinks. CompuBox numbers found Calzaghe landing 232 total punches, by far the most ever landed by an opponent in 21 Hopkins fights counted by CompuBox. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, by way of the Planet Hollywood Resort Casino of Las Vegas, we go to the scorecards. Adelaide Bird scores at 114, 113 for Bernard Hopkins. Ted Gimza scores at 115 to 112 for Joe Calzaghe. Chuck Jampa scores it 116 to 111 to the winner by split decision. From Newbridge, Wales, still undefeated, and now recognized by Ring Magazine as the new linear light heavyweight champion of the world, Joe
Bernard Hopkins stood next to Michael Buffer during the reading of the scores and projected the look of disbelief as the third score was read, and Calzaghe gets the split decision victory. Final CompuBox numbers, and once again we remind you of Calzaghe's accomplishment in having landed by CompuBox count more punches than anyone has ever landed against Hopkins. 232 by CompuBox count. The previous high number was 206 by Roy Jones all the way back in 1993. Calzaghe landing at a 33% clip, which rose constantly as the fight went on. In the first half of the fight, he landed at about a 27% number. Hopkins actually had a lot of offensive output for Hopkins, landing 116 power punches, nearly 10 per round, and that's a very aggressive showing for Bernard. Of course, Calzaghe's hands are going so much, he throws so many punches that it makes it a little bit easier for a counterpuncher like Bernard to get off. He had counted on that as a platform for winning the fight for him, but at the end of the day, it's Calzaghe who emerges victorious and moves to 45 wins, no losses in his career. Let's go to Max Kellerman with the best light heavyweight in the world.
Joe Calzaghe sharing a moment. Joe, congratulations. According to CompuBox, you just landed more punches against the great Bernard Hopkins than anyone ever has as a professional. How did you do it?
I don't know. To be honest, I found it really hard tonight. You know, he caught me in the first round. I think I slipped, but I had to dig deep. You know, Bernard's a great fighter. I knew that before the fight. He was wild. It was very difficult to pin him down, so I just had to let my punches go. And it was a hard-earned victory. But I just love to say thanks to the fans, all the fans that come and see me. I love you all. Thank you so much.
Joe, it seemed around the fourth round at some point, you started doing your thing where you drop your hands and have that kind of frenetic movement showing that you felt more relaxed. Is that something that you do to psych yourself up, or is that more a reflection of how you're actually feeling at that moment?
I think it's just a reflection of how I'm feeling. You know, obviously I got caught early, so I was a bit wary of his right hand, you know, and he was very defensive, so I just had to be patient. But in the fourth round, I started to loosen up, and I felt I was getting stronger as a fight. I knew it wasn't going to be pretty, but the win's the win, and I thank God, and thanks so much. I'm so happy, so happy.
You said you felt you slipped. It was a clean knockdown. Did he ever hurt you in the fight?
Oh, we just said I slipped. No, I'm joking. He caught me the flash knockdown. It's only the third time in my career being on the floor, and I got up, and what great champions do. I just went on with my business, and like I said, I'm so happy right now.
As you did against Chris Eubank many years ago. Later in the fight, towards the end of the round, he seemed to hurt you with a right hand. How close were you to going down at that point?
No, seriously, I was only hurt. I can't say I was really hurt.
Later, I'm forgetting the round, but he complained of a low blow and was demonstrative about it. The crowd seemed to not believe that he was actually hurt and thought that he was buying time. What do you think?
Well, look at the replay. It must be the phantom punch, but you know he's a wily old character, Bernard. He's a great fighter, and I think the pace was getting to him a little bit, so he done everything he could do to take a rest.
Where does this rank in the toughest fights of your career? Where does this one rank?
Yeah, I'd say it's one of the toughest fights in my career. As I felt I had energy, but it was very difficult to pin Bernard down. I knew that. You know, I like fighters coming to me. He was very wily, very clever, holding on the inside. You know, listen. The guy's been around so many years, and you just said to me that I land more punches than any other opponent, so I'm pretty proud of that.
Joe, Kelly Pavlik is a big middleweight. Roy Jones has been campaigning for a shot against you. Lots of big names out there for you to fight. Who's the one you want?
I'm not sure. You know, maybe I'm the legend killer. I just finished Bernard Hopkins, maybe Roy Jones. We'll have to wait and see. We'll sit down. I'm just having a good rest with my family right now, and take some time out, and then we'll see what the next step is from there.
Congratulations, Joe.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Max. Well, Roy Jones is seated about 5 rows away over there in the media area. What do we want to see Calzaghe do now that he's moved to this perch at 175 pounds? Is a Roy Jones fight satisfying to the public?
I think that's the fight I would like to see. The new Super Roy, the new young Super Roy. I would like it. I thought Roy looked very good his last fight when he fought with Trinidad, even though Trinidad looked good also. So I think that Roy and him would be a very interesting fight.
Also interesting to see what's left in Bernard Hopkins' future in the ring, should he choose to fight again. Let's go back to Max Kellerman with Bernard. No? Up.
Bernard.
Yes, okay. All right. Thanks very much. I thought I was crossing up the truck. Let's go to Max with Bernard Hopkins.
Bernard, impressive for 43 years old or any age, but you did seem to slow down a bit in the middle rounds. Did you feel your age tonight at all?
No, I was just pacing myself for the long haul. I mean, I had him down early in the round. I knew I was busting him up. And I was just doing what Freddie Roach told me, just take him into deep water, pick him off when I want to, and let him run into the shots because he come straight forward. I mean, it's clearly the world know and the fans know, other than the Brits, know I won this fight. And I made it look slightly easy, but look at my face. I'm not bruised up. I don't have a bruise. I bust him up. I hit him with short right hands. And I controlled the pace like a true veteran. Tied him up when I want to, walked him when I want to, and picked up rounds when I need to pick up round. But
Bernard,
I think it was an execution of the old school technique and everything, and he was throwing punches and missing. He was missing a whole lot.
Okay, according to CompuBox, he landed more than anyone's ever landed against you. It appeared early many or most of those shots were in fact not landing. Later it appeared that they were landing. Were they landing?
Well, they wasn't landing like you expect they was landing. I mean, if he throw 5 punches and 1 or 2 hit, I mean, of course 2 was landing, but I never got hurt in the fight. I never got hit with any big shots that I hurt him with. I dazed him and hurt him a couple of times. Put him down the first time. The world's seen it. See, one thing about boxing, the fans are the judges. Yes, they got officials, they got judges, but at the end of the day, the fans know that I put a gutty performance on. I have nothing to be ashamed of, and they know I'm a true champion. I took a guy to school that's undefeated, that give people problems, and I made him fight my fight half of the fight. And I think I won the fight unanimously.
Okay.
No question.
The world also saw a punch that did not seem to land in a debilitating spot. You reacted as though it did. The crowd seemed not to believe it. You're looking at me incredulously. Here it is. Let's look at it here and describe what you see and what you felt at the time.
Right there. He's right there.
Yeah, but right there looks just below the belt.
Right here where the sign is at. Right here, right on this patch here. That's my crouch. I mean, I ain't gonna ask you to feel it, but it's right there. I mean, you pointed out, you set yourself up with it, but that's what he hit me right there. And it sort of knocked my private outside my cup. And that's what I told Cortez that, and he gave me 5 minutes. So, I mean, it's clearly, I'm glad they got videotape, and I'm glad you pointed that out.
Bernard, no one disputes that you're one of the very greatest fighters of all time at any age. What you even did today is remarkable, no matter who got the decision. But the question is, will this be it for you? What are your plans?
Well, I'm going to talk to my partners, Golden Boy, talk to my wife, and just sit back and let the fans marinate this in their mind and show their disapproval. But you know, one thing about boxing, the fans are the judges. They got eyes. They can't be fooled. They can't be swayed. And they seen a 43-year-old throwback do a boxing exhibition, take this guy to school, and made him look amateurs.
Well, throwback maybe, but in any era, very few fighters have ever done what you've been able to do. Thanks for another top performance, Bernard.
Thanks, Max, and thanks to everybody in HBO.
Jim.